Hi friends, welcome to a Miss Mindy Minute. This is a time where you, there in your classroom, and I, as a school counselor, work on what can sometimes be the hardest things, heart things. During our time together, we will focus on ways that you can work to make your heart and your actions and your choices to mirror the heart of Jesus. I am proud to share with you that I have two daughters, ages 8 and 11, and like most every mom, I think they are amazing. To me, I look at them and I think, I am so glad that you are mine. And they are mine in almost every way. I look at them and they're my mini-me's, and I just burst with pride when I see their features being mine and their facial expressions being mine and their personalities being mine. So much of who they are, how they act, and the way they look is a direct reflection of me. And not only does that make me burst with pride, but it goes beyond that, really, because my daughters are an absolute reflection of me. Literally, they mirror what I look like, and I couldn't think more highly of them. The creation of them and them as creatures brings me glory, and I sometimes cry happy tears over them. And you can probably relate too, because you've likely created maybe a model car or a craft project or maybe a drawing that you take pride in. And you are able to look at that creation and think, this is a reflection of who I am. That piece reflects your creativity, your imagination, your skill set. In fact, that thing is your masterpiece and it brings you glory. And speaking of drawing, my youngest daughter recently drew a drawing of herself. She came to me and showed it to me for me to appreciate, and I did. I oohed and awed over her artistic likeness, commenting on the drawing's eyes and hair. There was a giraffe shirt and a bright red smile. It was her masterpiece. In fact, in red and purple cursive lettering, she had written big letters, M-E, me. My daughter was claiming this masterpiece as hers. And don't you do that too? If you craft or draw or build something, you want to claim it as yours. Somewhere on that masterpiece creation, you write your name on it somewhere. You're like, this one is mine, and you proudly display it on your refrigerator or in your room, or you enter it into a contest. Why? Because whomever comes along and looks at it will know that it is a direct reflection of you, and you want to be given credit for it. But as I gave my daughter's picture a second inspection, I spotted a smudge beside her me proclamation. There, in the faintest remnants from her erasing, was one word. Hardly noticeable, but one that spoke volumes was the word ugly. U-G-L-Y. Only 4 letters, but it told me everything about how she felt about herself. Even though I can't be prouder of the masterpiece for creation that reflects me, my daughter looked at that same masterpiece creation and felt ugly. And my daughter isn't alone in feeling ugly about the masterpiece creation that she is. In fact, an experiment was done by a forensic sketch artist who brought both adult men and adult women into his studio. And then with his back turned to them so he couldn't actually visibly see them, the artist asked the individual to describe themselves and their physical features. As the individual described their nose and their chin and their face shape, the artist used their descriptions to map out their own image on paper. The individual was then excused and went into another room where they met a complete stranger. After a brief interaction, the stranger was then invited into the sketch artist studio. This time, the stranger reflected on what that man or woman looked like in their eyes, reflecting on their memory of the person's nose, of the person's chin, of the person's facial features. Once both pictures were completed, the artist hung them side by side and invited the man or woman back in to see the difference. And what a difference there was. Inevitably, the self-described image was dark and old and sad. Often individuals over-exaggerated the size of their nose or skin blemishes or wrinkles. On the other hand, the sketch from the stranger's point of view was light and happy and good-looking. The stark image contrast of the two reflections, one how they saw themselves and one how others saw them, often brought that man or woman to tears. And I'm guessing your self-image brings God to tears too. You see you, your physique, your shape, your face, your personality, even your intellect are all God's creation. And like a proud parent, He looks at you and says, I am so glad you are mine. And you are His in your physical features and your facial expressions and your personalities. Genesis 1:26 and 27 tells us so. It tells us that who you are and how you act and the way you look are a direct reflection of Him because you were made in His image. And not only that, but you make Him burst with pride, and it goes beyond that. You literally are an absolute reflection of Him. You mirror Him, and He can't think more highly of you. The creation of you and you as a creature brings Him glory, and He might cry happy tears because of you. But my guess is that He cries sad tears too, because so often we as humans can't see what He sees. We look in the mirror, and just like the men and women with the sketch artist, we're critical of ourselves. We see ourselves in a self-image that is dark and old and sad. We may over-exaggerate the size of our nose or our skin blemishes or our wrinkles. Not only do we not see ourselves as strangers see us, but we in no way see ourselves as God sees us. Instead, we view our body and our features and our looks through a lens of maybe how our classmates see us and how culture says we should be and how society and social media define attractiveness. We measure ourselves against photoshopped, makeup artist, protein-enhanced, Botoxed world that tells us what we should look like. And because God knows this, and I love this, check this out, He spoke directly to this in 1 Corinthians 11:7. Check out what it says. For a man or a woman or a girl or a boy ought not to cover his or her head, since he or she is made in the image and the glory of God. Isn't that beautiful? God is straight up telling us not to be ashamed of how we look or what size we are or what clothes we wear, because we are in His image and we bring Him glory. Often I see parents who are so proud of, so impressed by, so glorified by the masterpiece creation who is their child that they want the whole world to know it, to proclaim and claim their beloved kid as theirs. Moms and dads everywhere make it permanent by tattooing their child's name on their arm. And guess what? God is no different. he is so proud of, so impressed by, so glorified by the masterpiece creation that is you, that he wants the whole world to know it and to proclaim and claim you as his beloved child, as his. He's made it permanent by tattooing your name in his hand. Isaiah 49:16 tells us, here's what it says. It says, see, I have written your name on the palms of my hands, and always in my mind is a picture of you. Wow. The picture God has of us is always in his mind. And that's not the culturally distorted picture of you. It's not the low self-esteem picture of you. It's not the critical friend picture of you. It's the perfect, created in his image, brings him pride and glory picture of you. So how do we switch our own picture of us to God's picture of us? Through the slow and steady process of questioning what others view us and how we view ourselves. So let's question society when they tell us we are good looking and what they tell us is good looking. Let's turn off social media reels that are related to bodybuilding and makeup tutorials. Let's notice our classmates' new haircut and their unique style of dressing. Let's compliment younger graders so they see themselves as we do. Let's work together to reframe our self-image to be a reflection of God's image. That's all for today's Miss Mindy Minute. Until next time, bye-bye.